Hey guys, again, welcome back. This is Paul from Gulf Storm Readiness. Hey, I want to introduce you to a new product today, something that I bought for myself, and I felt pretty strongly about when I purchased it that I wanted to do a review on this. Something called the GenTent, okay? GenTent from GenTent.com is a unique product that kind of fits a neat niche when it comes to dealing with using a portable generator outside in the rain. If you read any portable generators instruction manual, it'll tell you not to get it wet. Pretty obvious reasons. The panels in the front here are sensitive electronics. Once they get wet, it's a roll of the dice whether they're going to turn back on or not. So, especially when you start talking about an inverter generator, you're getting up there in some dollars. For me, protecting those electronics is something that I feel is important. So, in working through this and working through different scenarios, I didn't really come to the GenTent initially. My thought process was, I'll build a structure over it, or put some kind of wood planks together. I mean, I gave it a lot of thought, and every time I went to do it, I found another problem that I would be running into, and then I started doing the cost, adding it up, and I'm like, okay, well, I better think about this some more, until I ran into the GenTent. And after seeing the reviews and looking at the YouTube videos and talking to the one of the sales reps there, I come to the conclusion that I felt that this is going to be the best solution for me. Here's why. It's like anything else, right? Everything takes up space. Well, while the structure over the generator is the size of the generator right this moment, it literally folds down to something as small as a small two-man tent. Okay. Literally same concept. You can see that the tent poles kind of meet up to the top here. Unfortunately, I don't have the top taken off right now, but it really meets in the center. It's very straightforward. Where it starts to get not straightforward is different models have different setups. So, for example, this is a open frame traditional generator style. So they have clamps that clamp to the sides that ultimately extend out depending on the size of your generator and so forth. So the advantage with the GenTent is that there's multiple different styles and different sizes for different generators. The drawback is if you have two different styles of generators in your house, which most people don't, you might have to get a couple different kits or different sub-kits for them. But anyways, that's really kind of a minor thing, because really most people are going to have a generator or of a particular style. So in this particular instance, this generator is an iGen 4200 from Westinghouse. This is a digital inverter generator. We talked about inverter generators on the last video. And, this is a huge investment for me. This is a $600-700 generator, depending on where you buy it, plus shipping. And all the time and investment I put into breaking it in, all the oil and so forth, I've gone through it. I mean, people don't really take that into consideration, the time and the amount of time you go to investing into such a thing, running it, getting it broken in, getting it prepared for that day. It has to perform for you in a harsh environment. This is, I've got a lot of value tied up into this. So for me, protecting it was important. Well, it's like if you live in the South, weather shows up and you just can't really always run out there and grab the generator and pull it back in the house. And really the last thing you want to do is pull a hot generator into your garage, although you could do it and watch it for a while. And you don't want to run a generator in your garage, because that's a good way to asphyxiate yourself. Unfortunately, there's fires and lots of carbon monoxide deaths every year from people running generators inside their garages. Even with the garages open, you can build up enough fumes in there where there's not enough airflow. And a lot of times people just crack the garage thinking it's enough. And it just inundates them and kills the family, unfortunately. Seen this happen way too many times. So this right here produces that alternative safe operation and encourages safe operation in pretty much all weather. So this, going to the all weather standpoint, GenTent promises me that they have tested this up to 60 or 70 miles per hour up to a Category 1 storm. I'm not going to test a situation by putting my generator out in the middle of a Category 1 storm. But the thing is, in Florida, And anywhere in the southeast, you get these microburst storms that can put together a whip up of a 50 or 60 mile per hour gust, and you want something that's going to be robust. Well, I can tell you that I feel that the generator, the GenTent, is fairly robust. Now, getting into what I thought was really unique, or at least about their business model, is that you can get into a GenTent that'll do everything you see here for about $200. However, there are some upgrades. Some of those upgrades, I strongly advise that it would be something you would do regardless. First and foremost, this panel that comes down here, okay, comes with the generator, okay? I mean, there's a panel there. Now, the stock panel is this color material, okay? For $10 more, that's the cost when I bought it. It's a clear panel that goes over here. This comes off with Velcro. So you can see right here, it's put up on the Velcro. So these panels are interchangeable, but I feel that the clear panel is absolutely necessary just so that you can see your meters and everything on there and touch your buttons without necessarily having to take it off or lift underneath it and so forth. I like to be able to go out here, look at it, especially if it was raining, for example, with my umbrella, make sure everything's running right, make sure my loads are good, and get back inside the house. So there is some distinct advantage of that. Now, the panel does not wrap around the entire generator, okay? So this is something I discussed with them, and they said, listen, these generators need to breathe. We've tested them. In short, really the biggest issue is going to be, rain this way. I have a concern about potentially driving rain, although rain doesn't necessarily go upwards. It's one of those things where if the rain was driving sideways, could you see some blow up in there? You could. Now, for me, I'm running this generator on top of this cart, which is then going to possibly increase my, the potential of that generator being put, that because the higher off the ground, the more wind it's going to get under. So I think when it comes time to dealing with a major storm, I'm going to put a little concrete pad over here, some blocks from Home Depot, and the grass will just bite the dust wherever it's at, and then put that down there so the GenTent itself will be lower to the ground. The lower the ground, less likely you're going to deal with water-related issues, or rain-related issues. So besides that component, everything else is great. Another unique feature about the GenTent is that while the GenTent's on, you can go in here and actually open up the entire thing. I think this came off the frame a little bit, or I didn't put it on right. That's probably a little bit of user error on my part. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. So you can refuel it after, again, manufacturer suggestion is turn off the generator, give it 30 minutes to an hour, go back in and fuel it back up. You do as you feel necessary, but the bottom line is you don't have to take the GenTent off or anything like that just to put that in there, okay? So to fill your fuel up. And you can see my fuel gauge and everything, which is great. So all in all, I love the way this is set up. I think it's a very unique way of solving this problem. Now, this would be also great for those who camp, if you've got a food truck, etc. Now, going back to the different options, okay? The extreme version of the GenTent is the same thing. You're not getting any better build quality when it comes to the poles and the hookups, etc. The tent material is just as robust wind strength wise, but the material that when you get the extreme version is got a 3-year warranty made in the US. The other one is 1 year made in China. So you could choose between the two of them, and that does bump the price up, I think $20 or $30. So I went straight for the better material. I would say if you're strictly looking at this from the occasional use to, hey, I'm going to need to run this during an emergency, I would say that probably the original material is just fine. I bought the extreme because that's what I wanted. I'm kind of funny like that. If you're someone who's going to use it for kind of a dual use where, hey, I'm going to go boondocking with my RV, I'm going to bring this out every Sunday to the baseball game with my kids, I want to protect the generator all the time, your tent is going to see a lot more wear and tear. And if you're down here in the southeast, down here in Florida, Florida UV is incredible, and it will Florida UV will break down and kill anything. It's killed my kid's playground set. It'll kill the top of this. So I think the 3-year U.S. made material is the reason why I chose it. I just wanted something with better longevity. I wouldn't say this is a complaint. This is something I brought up to them that I felt was important, which was these brackets, okay, which they kind of come down a little bit, and this has more to do with me moving it around than anything else. These are made out of really strong plastic, but I would like to see the extreme option to come with it made out of metal. Some kind of aluminum or cast aluminum, or however you would put it together. The plastic is good. I feel, though, that if I was not taking care of this correctly, I could easily break one if I were to, move it up against something. And, don't get me wrong. I mean, don't be an idiot with it, and it'll be just fine. I'm not saying it's made out of poor material. It's built very well for exactly what it needs to be done. For me, I just like something just a touch more robust. Something else I would strongly advise, especially if you're living in the southeast region, is you'd probably want to go and take these little corners with the straps and kind of incorporate it with just a little line and probably put it down on a pen tag. They say that isn't necessary, but I would say when you're talking about a $200+ cover and you're dealing with high winds potentially, I would want to go ahead and put an extra strap and maybe put some tent pegs into the dirt, something that screws into the dirt, because in Florida we got nothing but sand, but some good tent pegs would hold that down. But beyond that, guys, this fits and checks and ticks all the boxes I need. So whatever you decide to do, whether you go with the extreme version or not the extreme version, when it comes to the name of this channel, for Gulf Storm readiness, the regular setup is going to be more than enough. Now, we've got some good news. As of this video, okay, there is going to be a coupon for those who want to purchase a GenTent. I'm going to tell you right now, I am not getting any affiliate money from them. They were nice to give me a nice discount on my tents for doing a review. I'm going to be honest with you guys, because I always will be, but that's not going to change my review. They were nice enough to do that for me, but at the same time, I've been looking at this and I was going to go and buy it regardless, because I felt that a U.S. quality made solution that's portable, lightweight, easy to throw in the back of the car, whatever I need it for, this ticks all the boxes. So I'm always going to be open and transparent with you guys, as they did sponsor me a little bit, but I've also given them feedback on certain things, okay? For example, I'm going to be real with you. When I got the tent, the screen printing started coming off like right out of the gate, like when it was all rolled up. It's a good possibility that this was screen printed and rolled up a little too soon. And so again, that's an aesthetic. I'm not going to mark something like this off for an aesthetic. It's an aesthetic. However, it's something that they need to know. And I told them, and he said that they actually had some issues with their printer on this. And so they're going to go, if I wanted to, I could have returned it. Their customer service is incredible. I've already had a buddy deal with something else that busted on that was possibly his fault. And they were immediately like, hey, we'll send it out to you, no problem. So, but in this case, I'm not going to go ahead and ask them to return it, because like I said, this is a tent material. I don't really care personally. I just want to know the rest of it. The other thing is looking at material wise, I know it sounds really goofy, but I'm a big Velcro fan. And when I look at Velcro, you can see the different quality of Velcro. That is some quality Velcro. I know it sounds stupid, but it's not when you're talking about major winds blowing things up. If it was cheap, crappy Velcro, this could possibly get pulled up, and now you've got water into there defeating the tent purposes, and in this case, it does not. Anyways, that's my review of the GenTent Extreme. As far as rating it, as far as a need for you to have something like this, if you're buying a generator, again, we talked about this, a generator is nothing more than a big teddy bear that makes you feel good unless you do certain things to think it out and prepare for whatever that future need is, especially when you're talking about storm preparation and readiness. I absolutely believe the GenTent, or something like a structure to put over the generator that's not your house, that's going to defeat the wind that's going to defeat the water is going to be idea. But you know what? Couple $100 out of the pocket and have this plus delivery. It's going to be hard to beat. And when you're getting a nice discount this weekend on the purchase, that might be just the thing to do. We are in the middle of storm season. It is the beginning of August. You know, if you're living down here in Florida, the Southeast, it's party time between August and October. So be vigilant, be safe, and have a great day.